So, more about the insemination process in itself. Most people will do an insemination, do it for a clinic. And then it's very simple. Just do your research about clinics, pick the one you like, call them, and follow the routine, and everything's gonna be fixed. I did a home insemination instead, and when you do that, you have to take much more responsibility yourself and do a lot more research about how to make a new insemination, how to make it work. But the benefits from it are huge, I think. It gives you a much bigger freedom to choose the right donator. When you choose a donator at the clinic, you have just a few things to go by. You have often his height, his weight, his skin color, eye color, hair color, and that is pretty much it. You can't get that much information. I mean, in movies you can get like this really detailed information, and sure, there are sperm banks which are specified for some different needs, but I don't really know how serious they are, and I don't really trust them that much. But when you do a home insemination, you know much more about the donator. It is a person you meet for a few times, or sometimes just once, but often for a few times, and you can also adjust the circumstances so it fits for your own needs and for your family needs. Some people choose to have an open donator where the child can know about the father, who he is, and take contact. Some people who do home insemination even choose to have an active father, even if you do the insemination and are taking the full responsibility to be alone with the child. The father, or the donator in this case, can also be an active part in a child's life if they agree about it. And to some that is a huge benefit. To me, that isn't an option. I don't want to have someone else in my life in that way. I mean, if I was in a relationship, I'd want that man to be an active part of my children's life, absolutely. But I don't need a man like that. I don't need father for a child in that way. But the man I picked is open for opportunity to meet a child when the child asks for it. It doesn't have to be at a legal age. It can meet when we are like a young teenager or something like that. When the child starts to ask about the father, I'm free to contact him, and he can explain why he chooses to do this and how he thinks about this. And I also have the possibility to contact him if the child gets ill sometime, if I need to know something about his medical history in order to help my child if the child would have a medical condition where it's needed. And to me that is a very, very big benefit. I think it's very important to know things like that. When you choose a donator at a sperm bank, you can't contact them in that way, and you can't really know if there are some genetic diseases. It's hard to know if you pick a private donator too, of course. But if something happens and the doctors want to know something more about your medical history, you're always able to reach that person and have that kind of information. To me, that is important. And well, that is the main reasons for me choosing to have a private donator. It's also easier to get pregnant with a private donator because when you do a home insemination, you do it with a fresh sperm, and when you do it at the clinic, the sperm has been frozen, and frozen sperm doesn't live that long. It lives for about 24 hours after the insemination. The same goes for the egg. So the egg lives for 24 hours, the sperm lives for 24 hours, and you have to be 100% sure that those are the same 24 hours and that they actually meet during those 24 hours. When you do a home insemination, the egg only lives for 24 hours, as always. But if you do the insemination a few days before you think you can get pregnant, the sperms will live inside of you just as long as we do when you had sex. It means sometime between 5 and 7 days. so you have a much longer time to get pregnant. And the sperm you get who haven't been frozen are also overall healthier. The chance that you will have a child that is healthy is higher. The risk for having a miscarriage is lower when you do an insemination at a clinic. So to me, doing it at a clinic was never really an option.